はい、どうもはい、どうもちょっと適当すぎましたね。今日も英語のやつやって、ちょっと待ってください。スマートフォンが落ちました。はい、今日も、英語のテストやっていきたいと思います。あれですね。英語の勉強、やっていきたいと思いますが、これ聞こえておりますか？大丈夫ですか？ちょっと自分で配信の方チェックしたいと思います。ちょっと待っててね。どうやってチェックするんだっけ？これが。はい、無事に配信できているようなので、英語のテストやっていきたいと思います。で、いつも忘れてしまうので、シェアをしておきましょう。よし。はい。ではでは、やっていきたいと思います。はい。いきます。今日もリーディングやります。というわけで、キャプチャ、ポチッと。あれ？これが出てる。なんで？あれ？そっか。なんでこれが出てるんだろう。私のが出ちゃってますね。これに、これを戻せばいいのかな？出ました出ました。なるほど。はい。事故でした。はい。ではでは、ですね、この後、どんな風に、これ、入り込んじゃうのかな？すごいですね。では、やっていきます。どっち
？Sometimes on the reading test, you may come across a question where you really don't know what the right answer might be. You may find that this happens especially in reading parts 3 and 4, which are particularly difficult. But even though there may be times when you have no idea what the right answer is, it's often possible to eliminate one or two choices as wrong answers. If you're able to
eliminate わからない単語があるときはちょっと逐一止めたりしながらやっていきます。エリミネート、弾く、間違っている問題、答えを弾く。
You can dramatically increase your chances at guessing the correct answer. Remember that all the questions on the reading test are multiple choice, and there will always be 4 options in each question. The great thing about multiple choice is that if you aren't sure what the right answer is, you can guess. There's nothing wrong with guessing, and you certainly won't lose any points for trying. So make sure that you answer every question and never leave anything blank. The thing about guessing, though, is sometimes if you spend just a little extra time thinking about a hard question, you'll be able to eliminate one or more answers. In other words, even if you don't know what the right answer is, you'll be able to reduce the number of possible choices. Let me put it this way. If you guess without thinking, you only have a 1 in 4 or 25% chance of being right. If you can eliminate one option, then you have a 33% chance of being right. And if you eliminate 2, then you're up to a 50% chance of being right. Let's look at an example. On the reading test, what is one thing you should always do? Write about 150 to 200 words. Answer every question. Use the provided dictionary as often as you like. Speak as clearly as you can. Even if we know nothing about the reading test, we can still get rid of a couple options. You wouldn't speak during a reading test, so it can't be D. And you wouldn't write on a reading test either, so it wouldn't be A. Okay, now we've narrowed our chances down to 2 options. Even if both choices seem equally likely to you, your chances of getting it right are now much higher.
でもテストだから
Therefore,
ね、
eliminating incorrect
ディクショナリーを
answers
使い
can
ませ
really
んから
help
ね。
focus your choices on the reading test.
うん。
The correct answer, by the way, is B. You will not be provided with any dictionary on test day. But, as I mentioned earlier, you should really try to answer every question.
うん。そういうことね。うん。わからない問題があるときは、答えを自分から導き出せと。In which part of the reading test will you likely need除外するものは most? パート3、4が難しいって話でしたね。The answer is correct. Sometimes on the reading test, you may come across a question where you really don't know what the right answer might be. You may find that this happens reading part of で、ボキャブラリーが大切だけども分からなかったらどうやって間違えている違う問題を弾くのを助けるのですか？ You can reduce number of possible answers. You can increase chance of getting a right answer. All of the above. Reduce number. You can possible answer. You can increase の意味をど忘れしていますね。decrease とあれですよね。increase 増える、増加する。decrease が減る。You can increase chance getting 多分探し出せって除外していけってことだからこっちじゃないかな。違った。アボーブだった。アボーブってどういう意味だったっけ？いけない。アボーブより上に all of the above 超える、高く。See even if you don't know what the right answer is もしあなたが答えがわからないとき You will have to be able reduce the number of possible choices わからないときはやばい、なんか変なのおっしゃった間違えた。スチームを起動してしまいました。間違えました。reduce を減らすか。number of possible choices わかんないときは他のナンバーをできるだけ減らすことを考えよう。if you can、eliminate が確かeliminate の意味が確か除外するだったから、if you can eliminate one option you will be happy 一個一個消していけばパーセント上がっていきますよと。アボーブがより高く。私アボイドと間違えたか、避けると間違えたか。はい。
When you take the reading test, you'll be provided with notepaper and a pen so that you can take notes during the test. If you need more notepaper during the test, just put up your hand and ask for it. You don't have to take notes, but it can really help you remember and organize the information you read during the test. In the next 5 videos, you'll learn about note-taking and how this skill can really help you on the reading test. In video 2, you'll learn some general note-taking strategies, using reading part 1 as an example.
次はどうやってノートを
In the
取るかを
subsequent
やってい
videos,
こうって
we'll
いうこと
focus
か。
on note-taking strategies that are specific to each of the other reading
また
parts.
すごく長い動画になりそうですね。やっていきましょう。何なんかクエスチョンが聞かれたけどね。Which is true during test? You can take note during the test. もちろん。You can ask more paper if you need more. You don't have to take note. You don't have できない。But if you don't have take A じゃないの？テストを受けるときノートを取れる。あれ？ In the reading test, note taking can help you remember all the information you need during the test. You will be given a pen and paper and can ask more. 全部ってことか。これ全部って意味が。なるほどね。だから要するにノート取れるし、さっき言ってたもんね、必要なことがあれば聞いてくださいねってこともあったし、ノートは取らんでもいいけど、取った方がいいよねってことだよね。全部だよね。0%。次。Strategies.
Before we get into specifics for each reading part, let's cover some basic note-taking strategies. If you haven't done a lot of this before, you might be wondering how to get started. How do you organize your notes? Well, different people prefer different layouts, so the bottom line is that you should take notes in whatever way is most comfortable for you. But right now, we're going to make a chart because that's an easy way to clearly divide ideas on the page. You should also try and take notes in point form. This will make things way easier and a lot quicker. You don't have to write in full sentences. There are some things we know about each reading part even before we read the text. In part 1, for example, we know that there are two main people, the writer of an email and the person who receives it. And there are two pieces of text. The first longer email, and then a shorter response written by the recipient of the first message. I can find most of the basic information in the first longer message, so I'll make a chart for it. I'll start by adding to at the top and from at the bottom of the page, like this. I also wrote who in both places. This is where I can fill in some information about who I think these people are. I should also add a what at the bottom of the chart. What's going on in this message? You'll notice I left quite a lot of blank space in the middle. This is where I can write a few notes for each paragraph in the passage. Try and leave space for around 4 or 5 paragraphs here. We'll get back to this in just a minute. Okay, so we're now going to do a bit of scanning to fill in this table. Scanning is when you look for keywords and specific pieces of information in the text. Since we'll be looking for people's names, capital letters can often make them easy to pick out. Okay, at the top, I can see that the email is written to Miss Chin. I wonder who she is. Well, I don't see any clues about that in the first bit of the message, so I'll leave it blank for now. At the bottom of the message, I can tell that it's from Judith, and in the first paragraph, I can also tell that she was a judge in an art competition, so I can write At the bottom of the message, I can tell that it's from Judith, and in the first paragraph, I can also tell that she was a judge in an art competition, so I can write something like this. Alright, what's going on in this message? I'll just write art competition for now. In fact, I'll shorten it to this. And oops, I made a spelling mistake. That's okay. You're the only one who's going to read your notes. So as long as you can understand what they say, that's all that matters. Now I'm going to do a bit of skimming to find further information and fill in the middle of my chart. When you skim text, you read it very quickly and look for the main ideas. Here, I'm going to skim the first or topic sentence of each paragraph. A topic sentence indicates what the following paragraph is about. So I see 6 paragraphs in the email. But the final 2 are so short. Maybe I'll just combine them in my chart. Now I'll lay out my information like this. Remember, no one but you will look at your notes. It doesn't matter if they're messy or if they might not make sense to other people. The important thing is that they help you keep track of information. And you know what? When you take notes, you want to be as efficient as possible. I don't really need to say paragraph here, so I could change my chart to this. And just for clarity in this video, I'll only display the
まあ確かに
paragraph
そうやって作っ
notes
た方
on
が
this
楽っちゃ
screen
楽なのか。
for the next little while. We'll look at the notes all together once more near the end.
うん。
Okay, now to actually do some skimming. In the first paragraph, it looks like Judith, the writer, is thanking Miss Chin for letting her serve as a judge in a city art competition. So I could write something like this for paragraph 1.
うん。
I want to emphasize here that note-taking is all about making things easier for yourself.
うん
If I wanted to save a bit more time, I could even shorten my notes like this. On to the second paragraph. The
あ、もう
topic
そんな
set
感じでいい
here
の
seems to be about Judith
I'd
offering
like
some
to
recommendations for next year's
recommendation for next
contest.
year's con-
I wonder what
competition.
recommendations. Let's see if I can find out.
Hi,
Don't
hi,
spend
hi.
more than 10 to 20
ちょっと
seconds
読ん
on
でみよう
each.
か。First, I'd like to see separate categories of beginner, intermediate, and seminar artists. Alternatively, we could have separate age categories. It is quite unfair for first-time against experienced artists. There were several promising pieces that were worth not a simple variable mention. They were seriously. なんか、あれでしょうか。なんか、コンペ大会の何かの話。I'd like to offer, offer recommendation. 次の年のやつ、大会をおすすめサーバル、なんかルールを決めるうんぬんかんぬんおすすめしますみたいな。で、まず最初に、まあカテゴリーをビギナーとそれぞれに分けたらどうですかみたいなお話かな。まあ、セミナーとか、カテゴリー分けて、やっぱアンフェアですよねって。初めての人と経験者でやっぱ不利です。なんか差が出ちゃいますよねみたいな話かな。So, we were very grateful I had an option that there was seriously 多分そういうことなんじゃないかな。Promotions of optional materials indicated only winner. After the event, I will call the super young artists to speak to them personally and encourage them develop. まあいろいろとお話というか、あれこれなんかいろんなの、まあ、フォーカス当てたらどうですかみたいな。
Remember that note-taking is meant to help you answer the questions, but it won't help you at all if you spend too much time making notes and run out of time for the questions. Okay, so here it looks like Judith thinks there should be separate categories for skill level or age. So I can write something like this. Alright, in the third paragraph,
ああ、もうそんな感
Judith
じでい
is
いの
suggesting a category for different types of art. So I could write
ペイン
this.
ティングとかと。
In the
あ、
next
アートタイプ
paragraph,
をさらに分けた
she
ら
is
どうですか
recommending that the art show be promoted more.
Third, I'd like to say more promotion art show. ああ、もっとなんかその作品をみんなに見せるようなことをしたらいいんじゃないか。As you know, entries display a city hall that will make the まあ、大会中は、まあ、いろんなアーティストの参加者、すべての参加者をディスプレイしましょう。During this time、ずっとやってたらいいんじゃない Only contain artists can view entries. Why not? Occasionally, everyone can come. 全部見れないもんね、みたいな。And why not? Why not? すごいよく言うかもしれない。Why not? This for longer one week? なんでなのみたいな。leave. 行っちゃう。entries. display for longer than 1週間以上やったらどうみたいなことかしら。
And in the last couple paragraphs, Judith is really just restating her intent and thanking Miss Chin once again. So I'll write this. Okay, so that's it. But wait, you may be wondering why I use quotation marks here. They can be really handy when taking notes. If you find yourself repeating words over and over, you can just use quotation marks like this instead, just as long as the repeated words are lined up in columns. So in this case, I repeated suggests categories for in paragraph 3, and I repeated suggests in paragraph 4. So I used quotations instead. Remember, the more efficiently you can write notes, the better. I'd like to point out that the charts in this video work well for this specific example of reading part 1. But although you can use these general layouts for other examples of part 1, you may have to make changes here and there. I also only made notes about the main email. I didn't make any for the short response. You'll find most of the information you need in this first, longer email. And the short response contains fill-in-the-blank questions, which makes it a bit tougher to quickly skim and scan for information. But if you find it useful to make a few notes for the response as well, go for it. You should do whatever helps you the most. Now here's a question from this part. Miss Chin is a painter, a sculptor, one of the judges, one of the city officials. Aha, so this brings us back to the beginning of my notes, where I left a blank about who Miss Chin was. Sometimes the information you're looking for might not even be in the text. It could be part of a question instead. This highlights why you shouldn't spend too long making notes. The information you're looking for might not even be there in the first place. So, referencing my notes, where should I look for the answer? Well, I know that Judith is writing to Miss Chin to thank her for giving her the opportunity to judge the art show. I also know that Judith is giving Miss Chin a few suggestions about next year's show. This all points to the idea that Miss Chin probably organized the show. Maybe she's an official of some sort. Therefore, D, one of the city officials, is the correct answer. In this video, we've discussed some general note-taking strategies using part 1 as an example. To quickly review, you should keep in mind that taking notes is all about helping you out. No one else is going to look at them. You don't need to care about spelling or grammar as long as you understand your notes. And try to use short forms for words, since this will save you a lot of time. Charts are easy ways to clearly organize your notes, but you should take notes in whatever way makes the most sense to you. Quickly scan the text for names and keywords, and skim for main ideas. But don't spend too long on this. Only take a minute or two, tops. In the next 4 videos, we're going to talk about the differences between the other reading parts that you should be aware of as you set up your notes.
Quiz. Then only correct will take note of reading test. There is only one correct way to take a note for. あれ? So you should take note. Way to. Only one way to take note for reading test. これは書けない。only one じゃないか。いっぱい書けってことやね。Knowledge of each reading parts will help you with note taking note before you even begin. Before 読む前に準備しろ。だよね。そうだよね。Noting me to help you use your time. include of the information you find the passage. Information help you 間違えたインフォメーションを増やすわけではないか。でも自分の答えを見つけるために増やすって意味では合ってたんじゃないのか、違うのか。この単語の意味は何だろうか。効率よくか。efficiently あなたの時間、効率的に時間をあなたの時間を助けるみたいなことか。そっかそっか、そういうことか。メモっとこう、今の単語。効率的に。普段使ったことないですね、こんな単語。効率的。効率的。初見さん、こんにちは。どうも、はじめまして。英語のテストをやっております。とてもポンコツな人なんですが、英語の、勉強しております。Where true when taking note, it is only to make a spelling mistake. Okay. スペルが間違ってても大丈夫。Your note will be scored. 違うかな。You can use quotation marks for英語のテストやっております。ちょっと訳あって英語の勉強をしなければいけなくてですね、ちょっと頑張ってるところです。で、今やってるのはテスト対策です。もう私がテストのために何か単語を覚えるとか、そういったことをやっていると、もう実はあと何週間後 ?2、9、15、あともう1ヶ月ないですね。もう今日26じゃないですか。なので来月の20日ぐらいにテストを受ける予定なんですよ。なので1、2、3 3週間くらいしかない。なのでそれに向けた対策を今取っております。はい。近々多分ガチの、フリーオンラインのテストなんですけど、それをやると思いますので、もしご興味あればお越しください。で、今なんで配信してるかと言いますと、誰かに見られているという緊張感がないとちゃんと英語やらないなって思ったんです。一人で黙々とやってるのがあんまり得意じゃなくて。
Reading to apply a diagram.
では次いきます。
Part 2 is unique among the reading parts in that it contains a diagram as well as a short message. What sort of notes, if any, should you take for this part? Well, you'll probably end up taking the least amount of notes of any reading part, if you take any at all. The diagram contains text in point form already, and since the purpose of a diagram is to lay out information in a clear, easy-to-read format, you don't want to waste any time simply repeating information. But there are usually a few areas where you can jot down some notes. Reading Part 2 also contains a short email containing fill-in-the-blank questions about the diagram. This email is shorter than in Reading Part 1. As you read through and try to answer the questions, it can be helpful to keep track of the main ideas in a W question chart like this.
ダイアグラムを、うわ、マジか、そういう感じか。
When, where, why.
うわ、すごい。
At the very
WHH みたいになって
figure
る。
out who the writer and the recipient are. In this example, I can tell that the writer is Lee and the recipient is Natalie. And at the top of the email, I see that they've got the same last name, so they must be related. The first sentence also says, "Got your message about Mom." So Lee and Natalie are likely brother and sister. From the first couple of sentences, it looks like they're discussing their mother's new medication, and Natalie is a bit worried. So I can write that down. I don't immediately see anything about when or where this is happening, so I'll just leave them blank for now. Now let's try a question from this part. Here's the first blank from the message. Hey Natalie, got your message about Mom. You sounded worried about that new drug she is taking at Dr. Patel's suggestion, so I looked online and found this information for consumers, doctors, researchers, med students. Okay, the few notes that I've taken have helped me understand the general situation. So at this point, I can figure this question out by quickly looking over the diagram. I know that it's a fact sheet, including warnings and directions for a certain medication. Doctors, researchers, and med students would likely know this information already, and it sounds like Lee and Natalie's mother is using this drug. Therefore, A, consumers, must be the correct answer. So the bottom line for reading part 2 is that you probably won't end up taking many notes, but even quickly looking over the diagram and trying to answer some of the W questions for the message could help you to answer the questions a bit more efficiently. In the next video, we're going to talk about some note-taking strategies you can use for part 3 of the reading test.
終わり。ではクイズに移ります。Why does reading part improve? バルブって確かなんだっけ？やばい、ど忘れしてる。なんだっけ？バルブ、インバルブ。一緒に巻き込むとか。ノートなんで取らなくていいんですか？ Time input already contain information text. You can remember the information without これ違うかな。The email button can easily scan the specific information. Easy? It is clear information possibility. インフォメーションがわかりやすい。The diagram input already contains. これと、パート2のダイアグラムはすべてフォームにテキストに、ポイントのテキストに組み込まれている。と、B は絶対違う。It's clear information possibility. 明確、わかりやすくなってる。まず、E メール。The email inputs can easily be scanned. 設定ない。easy じゃない気がするんだけど、見つけやすい。多分 D だと思うけどな。合ってた。よかった。Reading part normally contains diagram and email. 答えが全て入ってるよと。基本的にダイアグラムと E メールですよ。The diagram contains 含まれて information is easy to follow. よく見ればわかるよと。And the text is normally in point form. The short email can also quickly scanned by skimming. まあ、メールの問題がとても短いので、まあ、ゆっくり落ち着いてやってごらん的なこと。What form of chat would be useful? Chat ダブルクエスチョン。ダブルクエスチョンって言ってましたね。パラグラフは出てこない的なことでしたね。
We're now going to talk about some note-taking strategies for reading part 3, reading for information. What are the specific pointers you should keep in mind while you take notes for this part? For starters, unlike reading parts 1 or 2, there are no personal messages in part 3. Instead, you'll read a short article comprised of 4 paragraphs. So before even starting to read anything, I can set up my notes something like this. You'll notice that I've got my paragraphs to the side here, and I've also got the 5 W questions: who, what, when, where, why, at the top. These 5 questions are more like reminders as I'm taking notes. Each paragraph might only answer 1 or 2 of these questions, but if I keep them in mind as I'm going through the text, these questions can help guide my notes.
I
I'll show
think
you what
learn
I mean in
English
just a minute.
for test next
Before we look
month.
at an example, I want to
But it
mention
was so
one more thing.
difficult for me.
Each of the 4 paragraphs in this part is typically a different aspect of the main idea. And remember that the questions in reading part 3 require you to match a statement with the correct paragraph in which that information is found.
はいはいは
So
い。
this is why, as you answer the questions, it'll really help if you already
で、
have a
どこの
general
段落にある
understanding
か
of what each
見
paragraph
つけ
is
るのか。
about. On to an example. Here, I'm going to skim the first couple sentences of each paragraph. When you skim something, you read very quickly and look for main ideas.
はいはい。
I'm also
スキ
going to
ミング。
scan each paragraph. When you scan something, you look for keywords and specific pieces
Thank
of
you.
information. In
I'm
this
going
case,
to apply
I'll see
to
if any
PR
names
next
or
month
terms that seem related
for
to the main idea
for
jump out at me.
for my life.
Here's the first paragraph.
I want to spend
The
more in
Canadian
Canada.
National Exhibition, also known as the CNE or the X, is an annual event which takes place in
お、カ
downtown
ナダ
Toronto,
ナショナル、あ、行き
starting
まし
in
た、行きまし
mid-August
た。
and ending
CNE。
on Labor Day. For many
I have
Torontonians,
been to
it signals the
CNE
end
last
of
month,
summer
last year.
and the impending
In
cooler
Toronto?
weather. Okay, it seems the first paragraph
It
is about
was
a big
so
event called the Canadian
nice
National
event.
Exhibition that occurs in Toronto at the end of summer. The rest
End
of
of
this
summer.
paragraph likely contains general information about the event. So I'll write this in my notes. And notice how I wrote the abbreviation for Toronto here? Remember,
トロント。
abbreviations and shortened forms of words will speed
Short
things up
form.
when you take notes.
ショートフォーム。
Here's the second paragraph.
The first
The
Canadian
first
National
Canadian National Exhibition took place in 1879, exactly where it takes place today, on a 1.1 square
すごい
kilometer
ヒュー
swath
ジ。
of land near the shores of Lake Ontario. At that time, it was
Michelle, Michelle, can you understand Japanese or? Yeah, I know probably English is better for you. But if you understand Japanese, so I will speak Japanese for thinking about this test.
called the Toronto Industrial Exhibition. The name changed in 1912 to reflect broadening local and national interests. These sentences discuss when and where this event first began, and how it has changed.
Sure.
So this paragraph is probably about the history of the exhibition. I'll write this in my notes. On to the next paragraph. In its early years, the X also attracted many farmers wishing to showcase their best harvest products. Farm animals and vegetables were displayed, and prizes awarded according to various criteria.
Really?
So this paragraph seems to be talking about history as well. But the main focus is about how the X used to be very agricultural.
最初の頃
The
と
rest
か
of
が
this paragraph
こういうことから
expands
始
on
ま
the
りました
idea.
みたいな。
So I can write something like this in my notes. Now for the last paragraph. From 1905 to the 1970s, the X also featured fine art in a specially built art gallery. However, in recent years, the X has featured new culinary innovations rather than industrial inventions, agricultural achievements, or works of art.
わからない。
Here, it discusses how the X has moved away from industrial or
どう
art
いう意味だこれ。
displays and how it now features more culinary innovations. In other words, more foods. So I'll write this.
Innovation.
Great, so I've got a few quick notes for each paragraph. And I can answer some of the W questions as well. Who is it about?
やばいな、本当にリーディング3難しいな。
Mainly people in Toronto. What is it about? The Canadian National Exhibition. When does it occur? At the end of summer. Where? In Toronto. Why? For entertainment.
Ah, yes.
Okay, now when I answer the questions, I'll have a much better idea of which paragraphs might contain which information. Here's a question. Toronto newspapers will likely give information about the X's new food offerings. So which paragraph is this in?
Food.
Remember that in reading part 3, you can also choose
D.
the option E if the information
Ah,
isn't
そっか。
in any of the paragraphs. Let's check.
New food.
From my notes, I know that
D だ
paragraph
D に
D
ちょっと書いてあ
mentions
るけど、
foods, so I'll look there.
でもそれが、
I can see that the Toronto media announces new foods that will be available at the
お
X.
ー、
And I know that newspapers are part of the media, so paragraph D is the
D.
correct answer.
うんうん。
In this video, we've discussed some unique note-taking strategies for reading part 3. In the next video, we're going to talk about some note-taking strategies you can use for part 4 of the reading test.
はい。OK。Michelle, do you still watching this live? Always, every day, I wanted to say to you, apologize. Thank you for very much every day. So, you send to me English sentences every day. I have to learn English more. Which statement were related person? Statement. Relate. Related. 関係のある。Say a no personal message. The reading complies of 5 short paragraphs. 5じゃなかった。Each paragraph covers aspect main ideas. There are pictures for better understanding. はい。Why is it recommended that you include the 5 questions you note? They can help guide note. They can help you match the information statement in correct paragraph. Choose all answer. Which of the following is the most important of the note down past the writers and the novelist? Recipient. Thank you. The writer and the recipient of the following is the most important note of the main idea of each paragraph. The viewpoint of each person. B かな。さあ次。Last videos.
We're now going to talk about some note-taking
I'm going to
strategies for
take
reading part 4,
self-pip.
reading for
You know
viewpoints.
self-pip.
What are some things you should keep in mind while you take notes for this part? You may find the vocabulary in reading part 4 a
is
bit more
most
difficult.
difficult.
This is one of the hardest parts on the reading test. But you should still be able to grasp each person's general viewpoint, even if you
My
don't
enemy.
understand every single word. To begin with, there are 2 pieces of text here. The first is an article containing at least 2
Like a
different
newspaper.
viewpoints, and the other is a short response to the article. I can
Short
find most of the
response.
basic information in the first piece of text, so I'll make a chart for it like this. As you can see, I've left room at the very top for the issue being discussed. I know there will be at least 2 people mentioned in the article, so I've got 2 columns for this.
見てなかった。
And a chart for it like this. As you can see, I've left room at the very top for the issue being discussed. I know there will be at least 2 people mentioned in the article, so I've got 2 columns for this. I also left room at the right, in case more are mentioned. Some of the people mentioned in the article may share the same view on things, so I'll figure out the viewpoints afterwards. Let's dive into an example now. I'm going to skim the first sentence of each paragraph for the issue being discussed. When you skim something, you read very quickly and look for main ideas.
I can't.
I'll also try to scan for different people. When you scan something, you look for keywords and specific pieces of information.
Could be fine.
Since these people may be named, the capital letters in their names often make them easy to pick out. And look out for quotation marks as well. These often indicate that someone is stating their opinion. Here we go. Chibukdo Town Hall was packed last night as Dr. Glenda Meckley of Hills Health Network warned residents about the rising incidence of Lyme disease. Okay, so this paragraph likely gives some background information about the dangers of Lyme disease. I'm gonna scan this paragraph now to see what sort of opinion Dr. Glenda Meckley has. Actually, it looks like there are no opinions yet. Dr. Meckley is simply discussing the disease and how it's spread by an insect called the deer tick. In the second paragraph, Dr. Meckley says in the first sentence that there's no easy way to get rid of the deer ticks. Dr. Meckley had no easy answer for Chibukdo daycare operator Huda Azarvand when she asked what was being done to discourage deer ticks. And I see a couple other names here. It looks like Huda Azarvand, who works at a daycare, and Clara Ocampo, who's a mother, agree that the ticks should be sprayed with insecticides, which are a type of chemical. Azarvand insisted that children needed to play outdoors, adding that it wasn't feasible to confine them to the house to protect them from ticks. Clara Ocampo, a mother of 4, agreed. Fumigate the parks, like in the States. Let us spray our yards with insecticides. Get rid of the ticks and make the outdoors safe for our dogs and our kids. In the next paragraph, the first sentence seems to be giving background about the chemicals used on ticks. And no names. But sometimes, reading part 4 will include statements by larger groups of people, even if they aren't specifically named. And here, I see that the public doesn't like the use of chemicals on ticks. So I'll add another column to my chart. Okay, final paragraph. The first sentence discusses how the use of chemicals is a complicated issue. However, determining the advisability of fumigating public parks with a possible human carcinogen is complicated by the fact that a caricide poisoning in humans via accidental exposure causes symptoms that mimic early Lyme disease. And then a health officer, Malik Kashani, backs this up by stating that it's uncertain whether the chemicals actually work or not. In pointing this out, Health Officer Malik Kashani also noted the chemical's effectiveness is questionable. Wow, so there are a lot of people mentioned in this article. How about viewpoints? Well, some of these people agree with each other. For example, both Dr. Meckley and Kashani are uncertain about how best to approach the deer tick. Both Azarvand and Ocampo think that insecticides should be used, but the general public believes that these chemicals should not be used. So we've basically got 3 different viewpoints. On to a question now. Who most strongly supports spraying insecticides? Malik Kashani, Glenda Meckley, Huda Azarvand, Clara Ocampo. Well, right away, we know that it's not Kashani or Meckley. And both Azarvand and Ocampo agree with each other. But it's Ocampo who actually states that the insecticide should be used. So D is the correct answer. Remember that in this video, I only made notes about the main article. I didn't make any for the short response. You'll find most of the information you need in this first, longer passage. And the short response contains fill-in-the-blank questions, which makes it a bit tougher to quickly skim and scan for information. But if you find it useful to make a few notes for the response as well, go for it. You should do whatever helps you the most. Okay, we've now completed our discussion of how to take notes for each reading part. The final video will give you a brief summary of the note-taking strategies for each part of the reading test.
簡単に言ってくれるぜ。Last quiz. Which statement is true when taken as false? It contains more difficult. Choose all. Also, you may not understand all the team. It is possible to understand each person's general viewpoint. You will need to keep track of track. You keep track. Track って工程のわだちとかだよね。その車の通った後のトラックだよね。これが C のTRCAU の場合は車のトラックだもんね。なんて言ったの ?You may find the vocabulary more difficult. あなたにとってちょっと難しい単語が見つかった場合、You should still be able to understand each viewpoint article if you read the passage carefully. 読み続けろ。In part 4, it is useful to include 増加する a place of the viewpoint in your chart. Well, laying out. Laying. lay の過去分詞。横たえる。You note for laying part for what should you remember to do. 何をすべきか覚えてますか Scan for keywords and specific information. Look for capital letter indicating the name of different individual. Look for statements made by groups of people. 全部じゃないか。イェーイ。How many viewpoints will you find? ビューポイントはどれだけ見つけた方がいい？いっぱい、そうか、2もか。2はもう、3までじゃないよね。あと2分のビデオなんで見ちゃいましょう。
In this final video, we'll do a quick review of some note-taking strategies and how you could lay out your notes for each reading part. For starters, remember that taking notes is all about helping you out. No one else is going to look at them. You don't need to care about spelling or grammar, as long as you understand your notes. Try and use short forms for words, since this will save you a lot of time. Charts are easy ways to clearly organize your notes, but you should take notes in whatever way makes the most sense to you. Use point form and write down key words and main ideas. For reading part 1, you can start your notes like this. Remember that I focused my notes on the main email in this part, since that's where you'll get most of your notes. But you can take notes for the response email as well. For reading part 2, well, that's really up to you. Since the information in the diagram is already presented in a point form, easy to read format, you may not end up taking many notes in this section. But at the very least, you could try answering some of the W questions for the short email. And here's reading part 3. Remember that there are no personal messages in this part. Instead, you'll be looking at 4 paragraphs of information. Reading part 4 contains a longer text with multiple opinions, as well as a shorter response text. you could set up your notes like this. And again, remember that I focused my chart on the main text in this part, since that's where you'll get most of your notes. But you can take notes for the response as well. As you can see, there are a number of ways to start your notes for each reading part, even before you've read any of the text. But I want to emphasize, don't spend too long taking notes. No more than a minute or two. With some proper planning and time management, taking clear and organized notes is a great way to help improve your achievement on the reading test.
Okay. So you should only take a note of such video. あれonly take a note. The way suggest. あれ There is no one way. そう no one way. Only, not only. You should take a note in exactly the same way for each reading part. Same way? じゃないよな。Some reading parts are based similar context, so you could take a note in similar way. Your note will contribute. いつもね、この形容詞がわからないんだ。寄付する。与える。contribute. Do you score for same part on the reading test? Depends. Your note will give your score same part. Same part. なんか depends な気がするけど違う？そっか、全部違うんだ。Your note will never impact your score reading test. You may take many notes as you like. Also, it is recommended that you take at least few. そういうことか。はい。こういうノートを取れっていうメモがあるんですね。そして、もうちょっと言ったらですね、クイズとか、なんかいろんなものが出てくるようなので、もうちょっと頑張ったら終わりかな。リーディングパートはもうちょっとで終わります。で、あとは、ちょっと今日中に頑張ってこれパパーっとやっちゃって、明日はライティングの方に移ろうかな。もう時間がないからね、頑張ってやらなきゃいけないですね。Thank you for watching this live. もし誰かいるならば、Today is finished because I'm so tired and I'm so hungry because I couldn't eat dinner today for learn English. So I will go to upstairs. I go to kitchen, then make a dinner. I will make a hot dog or pancakes. It's easier. But I forgot it. I have to make tomorrow's lunch. Oh my gosh, I don't have time. I have to take a shower, take a sleep for tomorrow's work. Anyway, thank you for watching this live. See you next time. Bye. Good night. Michelle, thank you so much today. Thank you for coming. Yes, I am. 日本語わかるのか？日本語がわかるのか？じゃあ、今度、英語教えてください。そうだ、日本に住んでたんだっけ？なんかお仕事。 Are you going to apply to PR in Canada? PR Payment Registry Residence Permanent Residence かあ、ゆういちさんお疲れ様でした。また次回お会いしましょう。バイバイ失礼。これからご飯を作ろうと思いましてですね、実はまだランチをですねディナーを食べてないんですよ。なのでこれからご飯を作ってですね、多分1時間後くらいにもう一回多分配信すると思います。ただ英語のですねテストといいますか、ちょっと勉強している垂れ流しの配信なので、多分うまくいけばいいかなと思ってます。まあ多分とても眠くなる配信だと思うので、まあ垂れ流しのそちらも一緒に垂れ流す感じでちょっと聞いてて見ててくれたら嬉しいなと思います。Public Relations sounds nice. Public Relations? 永住権Permanent Residence PR in Canada。 これこれPermanent Residence 永住権、これ I'm going to take it Permanent resident. So I have to take an English test around Selbib. And Selbib has maximum 10 score and minimum 1 score. I have to get a English score around 4 over, so I have to learn more English. I have to. But I want to stay here or next year, or after 2 months, 2 years, 3 years for learn English and my life. Yes, thank you so much. I can do it. I have to do it. I will do it. So I'm going to Calgary for take a test maybe next month, October 2020. So I don't have time. So thank you. I will try it. 気づくピザじゃない、多分ねホットドッグとかです。ロシアンはわからないよ。ロシアンはわからない。翻訳。私はI cannot speak English ちょっとびっくりした今。なんて言うんだろう。
Я не могу говорить по-английски.
なんて
Я не могу говорить по-английски.
What?
Я не могу говорить по-английски. 私は英語が話せません。私は英語が話せません。
I cannot speak English. I cannot speak English.
はい。では、今日はこの辺で終わりにしたいと思います。Maybe I'm going to do live maybe after 1 hour after dinner. Maybe if I do play the live after 1 hour, is it possible? Please come again, please. Yeah, good night. See you. ではではおやすみなさい。多分またやるとは思うんですが、 よかったらまたお越しくださいね。ありがとうございます。Thank you for coming, Michelle and Yuichi. Good night. Bye.